So to work on cars, I mean to do oil changes and stuff like that, and to get underneath, I'm going to have to do some more work to this truck. I needed car ramps, you know, something to drive up on. And I had a set of plastic ones from Hobo Freight. They hold 6,000 pounds and all that other good stuff, but they only raise the car up 6 inches, which is okay for most oil changes. But I decided instead, for about the same price, I could actually make my own. So that's what I'm doing today. So this was the design. Each of these can be driven up on, and then the tire will eventually be here with the stop at the end, so that the vehicle won't go past that while you're driving up on them. But anyway, this raises up a total of 9 inches, and that's because you have a stack of wood here that's inch and a half, inch and a half, inch and a half, inch and a half, all the way up. So what I did is I'm using 2x10s, so these are 9.5 inches wide. That's for that. But the reason that I chose that is because I've got this freaking truck with their wide tires, sedan and stuff like that. Not so much, but so you can actually get away with something that's thinner than this, but you can put an unlimited amount of weight on top of it. And what I ended up doing is cutting each of these pieces. So I have 3'9", 3'3", 2'9", 2'3", 1'9", 1'3" for the top one, 15, and then you have 12 inches left over. And that makes, if you buy 4 8-footers, you end up with that's 2 8-footers there worth of wood. And I'm going to make the other set. So that's the ramp there. And I just, I have a saw that can cut, virtually any width. So that's why I put the 45s on there. But you can actually get away with it even if they're not cut at 45s. You can cut them straight across and it'll still work. This just gives the tires, as you're driving up on them, just a little bit more advantage to get on top of them. So anyway, but that's what I've done. I'm not going to show you how, putting it in the saw and cutting it. I actually roll the saw on its side with the 45, and I can cut this way across. With most saws, if you don't have a miter saw like this with a that allows you to rotate, then you won't be able to do that. But anyway, so then you screw these together, and they're quite heavy, but not unmovable, and it's great. You can put virtually any amount of weight on top of them, and the tire will come to rest on top of there. And then of course you block your vehicle so it can't roll back off. All right, so that's my project, and I'm going to finish up here. I can't video and do this at the same time, but you can alter the dimensions a little bit. It doesn't have to be 10-inch wide. You can do 2x8s maybe, or maybe even 2x6s. You're only, and this is for oil changes and stuff like that where you need to get underneath the car. But and I made it that each of these steps is 6 inches apart, so that gives you a gradual climb up the ramp. All right, so that's that, and I'll if this was any value, like, subscribe, comment, ask me questions. I'd love to hear from people. Anyway, that's it. Peace out. Love. Bye. This is what I was talking about, is getting the saw. You can set this saw to cut this way, plus it has this has a slider on it also, so you can cut virtually anything that you can fit on the platen here, and you can cut at virtually any angle. If I could get more of this, I'd cut this at maybe a 60-degree angle, but 45 is the limit. But anyway, that's what it looks like. And there's the cut. So that's there's a final product. I just put, to hold each of the layers together, I put 2 screws. That's all, because everything is down. They're not holding anything. So I put one screw up here and one screw back there, and then in the next row opposite and opposite, and I put 4 on top. And this has a potential at getting knocked over, so you drive those in at an angle, gives you a little bit more holding power up here in the event that that gets hit, but I don't expect them to come out. Same thing over here, drive them in at an angle, and then a vehicle bouncing up against it isn't so likely to push that piece off and create a problem for you. So anyway, there they are. Now I'm going to put the truck up on them. And that's that. That's the final thing. The truck rolled right up on top of it. There's the stop over there in order to catch the front lip of the wheel. These two tires are very wide. They're like 10.5 inches wide. The ramp, my ramp, is 9.5 inches. So anyway, you can see. And there you have it. So the cost, the 2x10s, 8 feet long, 4 of them. It was about $11, just over $11 a piece. Plus, I bought them at Lowe's, and I got a little discount on that, 5%. So anyway, but it was less than $50, and then, you know, I don't know, a dozen screws, maybe a dozen and a half screws. So anyway, it's pretty inexpensive, and you can, plus if this isn't high enough, this is now almost 10 inches. If this isn't high enough, you can always get another piece and put it underneath the whole thing and raise it another 1.5 inches, and another piece underneath, another 1.5 inches. So anyway, it's pretty flexible. It's something that you might want to consider. Anyway, that's the project. Thanks for watching. Bye.